Hi, everyone. This is Matthew Nunes, and welcome to Grant and Proposal Writing, ENG 413. So in this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the class and show you around our Canvas page. You're probably familiar with how Miami has online courses set up, if you've taken a course at Miami before at online. But they are set up a little bit differently for each class, so just make sure you familiarize yourself with the setup of this class. And of course, this is the page you're going to see when you open up our site with the easy links to the syllabus and the modules, my email information right here, and of course the helpful to-do list over on the right. Just be aware, of course, that if you have more than one thing listed for one day, it might not be listing them in the correct order. So going to the modules page is the best best place to make sure you're going in the correct order for assignments and pages. But the first place to start is the syllabus. So of course, I want to make sure you read through all of this more thoroughly on your own. There will be a syllabus quiz, so that's another good reason to read through it thoroughly, but also to make sure you understand what the class is all about and all of the different policies. And I do have a printable copy of the syllabus here. It'll take you to a Google Doc if you prefer to print out the syllabus instead. So I do have a little bit of information about myself here, which I welcome you to read that and watch my video. And of course, my contact information here. So even though this class is online, I do have an office at the Middletown campus, and so I will be there a couple of days a week. So I'm always happy to meet in person, but of course, I'm also happy to meet online as well, such as with video meetings. And of course, anything I can do to help you out. If you have questions, difficulties of any sort, always happy to help out. And of course, email is the most dependable way to get a hold of me because the phone number is just my office phone. And so if I'm not in the office, I may not get the phone call. I have some information here about the course just in general, which again, I encourage you to read more thoroughly on your own, but I'll just kind of briefly summarize here. And so really grant and proposal writing is where you're going to be learning a lot more about grants and how to write a grant proposal. But that also includes, how to find the opportunities for applying for grants. What are some of the strategies you want to use in writing a good grant proposal? And so we'll have many individual assignments, but also there's a lot of collaboration with your classmates. Many of you will be working in groups together to write a grant proposal. And we'll actually be working with a nonprofit community partner for this class. And so we'll be actually writing a grant proposal to help fund some of their projects. And so that's an exciting opportunity. In that sense, we have an actual real client in this class. And so in this case, this semester, we are partnering with Tide Pool, which is a new nonprofit organization located in Hamilton, Ohio. And so we'll be sharing more information about that as the class goes on. And so by the end of this class, though, you should have gotten some experience with actually practicing writing a grant proposal in addition to learning about what's involved with grant proposals. And so that's a hopefully be very helpful experience for you as you go into the real world of grant writing. So whether you become a grant writer or just happen to go into some profession where you might be involved with helping to write a grant, I hope this experience in this class will be helpful for you. Now we do have a couple of options in terms of actually writing the grant proposal for this class. The first, and this is what most people do, you'll be working with a community partner that I have arranged for this class. And so most students do take this option. But if you're somebody who, let's say you already work for a nonprofit organization or have a very close relationship with one, you potentially could actually partner with a different organization that you already have a relationship with to write a grant proposal to fund something that they would like to fund. But this is something that you do need to arrange with me in advance, right? You need to get approval from me. You can't just decide to just do it. And this involves me making sure that they're going to be a good fit. You need to reach out to them as well to make sure that they want to work with you. So there's a lot involved with that. But if you do want to take that option, especially if you are already working for a nonprofit or have a good relationship with one, you'll need to contact me about that by the second week of class. We need to do that right up front. Otherwise, it's totally fine to be working with our community partner, which is what most people end up doing. And so with that grant proposal that you'll be writing will be your culminating project for the class. That is the main project for the class. So I'll be sharing lots more details about all of that as the class proceeds. And I do have some general learning outcomes for the class listed here, which I'll let you read on your own. Also one other note, of course, this is officially an experiential learning class that we got that designation recently. And so that means, of course, that work with that community partner, that partner outside of the class, is part of how you are meeting that experiential learning element of the course. Now, we do have a textbook for the class, but the good thing is that it is not too expensive. That this is the only grant writing book you'll ever need. This is the 5th edition, so do make sure you get the most recent edition, that 5th edition. It will be having frequent readings from that, but also we'll be providing some additional readings and articles on Canvas for you. So I'm going to skip down here a little bit further. So I have a general summary of the assignments for the class here, and all of the percentages things are worth. We have various categories for the class. So exploration and analysis, those are generally short assignments, discussion activities, things like that. The drafts, peer reviews, and reflections. We do have a lot of drafts, peer reviews, and reflections in this class, and so that's another element of the course. And then, of course, we will have, as you prepare to write the grant proposal, we'll be having a project plan you'll be preparing. And then, of course, the grant proposal itself and a final presentation. So again, I'll have more details about all of those assignments as we can continue with the class, but that is the breakdown of the percentages of the grades. And of course, the general grading scale is listed here as well. In terms of late work, this is something important to make sure you are getting your work submitted on time. So this is a professional setting. So just as if you were going to be late for work or couldn't make it to work, right, you contact your employer in advance. This is the same policy kind of applies here as being a professional setting. If there's a reason that you need to have more time on something, contact me. If you're going to, need some extra time, I can give extensions when that's appropriate. But this is where the communication is the key. So contact me if you ever have any difficulties. Otherwise, a late penalty may apply, and in some cases, for some assignments, you may not even receive credit, depending on what the assignment that is. So again, contact me. That is the most important thing to do if you're having difficulties with the timeline. And then, of course, while we don't have attendance, this is being completely online, we don't have any class meetings, you are being present and participating in class is how you are, is an important element of being really attending the class online. Now, you've probably heard academic integrity policies before. I'm sure you know, of course, that means that any work that you do for this class should be your own. And that means, you can't, just, present something as though you wrote it when you didn't write it. Now, obviously, there's going to be a group work element of this class where many of you will be writing grant proposals in collaboration with a small group of classmates. But obviously that's where the expectation is that you are collaborating together on that. Now, the other element to the academic integrity policy that is newer because of the emergence of AI is that there is no, the use of generative AI is not allowed for the class. Unless you are specifically directed to, in which case we actually you won't be directed to in this class. So AI, that includes, ChatGPT, Gemini, all the different generative AI platforms out there. But that actually also includes the use of Grammarly. I know some people like to use Grammarly, but Grammarly is actually now an AI tool. They actually advertise themselves as an AI assistant. And so Grammarly may not be used for this class. So if you have used Grammarly in the past for various things or have a browser extension installed on your computer, you will need to uninstall that for the duration of this class. And of course, this is where there are some severe penalties for breaching academic integrity policy. This last semester, I believe I caught 7 people, and all 7 were found responsible. And in all cases, they were using AI to do assignments for them. Again, there are definitely some serious consequences to using AI or any other breaches of academic integrity. So this kind of sums it up a little bit here from the academic integrity policy at Miami. And we will actually have an academic integrity policy quiz. So this way you can make sure that everybody has read the policy. All right, so we have also some general expectations for you and for me. So that we're obviously, in terms of my expectations for you, that's that you're checking our Canvas site regularly, that you're reading the announcements that I'll post. I will be posting announcements pretty frequently. You check your email regularly, in this case, your Miami email in particular, whatever email you're using for this class. And of course, completing all of the assignments, completing things on time, things like that. And of course, on my part, I'll try to be timely in responding to your emails, timely in grading your class work and giving you feedback, and of course also posting regular announcements to update everybody as well as some of the other elements I have listed here. Then of course I have some other general policy information here and some resources that you can look through on your own. And at the bottom of the syllabus, we have the course summary where it lists all these different things due on certain days. Now, I have specific pages listed to show up on your to-do list, so this doesn't mean that we have like 8 different things due on one day here. But what it does mean is that you have a page that you need to be reading on that day. So some of them are assignments and others are just the pages that you need to read on Canvas. But let's take a look at the modules real quick. just so you can get a general sense of the flow of the class. So we'll be having multiple due dates per week, usually Wednesdays and Fridays, I believe, are kind of the main things for this class. So we have the module 0, which is really the overview, kind of like the orientation module of sorts. Make sure you've read the syllabus, and we have a couple of quizzes on the syllabus, the academic integrity policy, and of course an introductions discussion, so you can get a sense to know your classmates, and I get to know about you a little bit more, although I do see many familiar names on the roster this semester. So happy to have many people back for another class. And then, of course, we'll be starting out with a module on what is grant proposal writing. So this is important to get out of the way right up front, so we all have an understanding of what is involved with grant proposal writing. So again, that's what that module will be focusing on. And we'll have some information about our community partner. Again, I'll share some more information about that later. And then a module on finding grant opportunities. That's actually a whole complex, difficult thing in many ways. So just finding the grant opportunity to apply for. So we'll have some attention to that. And then, of course, some team building and project planning. So before you even start writing the grant proposal, we'll be doing a lot of preparations for that, especially since there's that group work element that most of you will be doing. So I have some modules dedicated to that. And then from there on, but basically we'll be drafting that grant proposal piece by piece, but also learning about each element of the grant proposal as we do it. And so, so we have the problem and needs statement. And so we have a module on that. So basically the setup is generally going to be having a discussion and some readings, focusing on that, looking at some examples, and then immediately put that into practice by you and your group working on the draft of that section, and then doing kind of like a little peer review, and then moving on to the next. And during that process, we'll be having some frequent some reflections every couple of weeks for you to check in with me, and also me to kind of help monitor any questions, difficulties that are arising as we go along. And so, basically each module is about a week long at that point. And so we'll be going through really each of the different parts of the grant proposal one by one, drafting it so that you're taking it one, just piece by piece. Then finally, you'll have the entire grant proposal, that you'll have all those pieces of the draft that you've been preparing, and now you'll finally get to put them all together and make sure they all go together well, with a peer review on that final draft really of the grant proposal before you revise it with your group to turn it to me. And later on, of course, that grant proposal will be shared with our community partner. And so this is the key, that you do have an outside audience beyond this class. Again, I'll share more information about that later. And then you'll also be having a final presentation and reflection in this last module. And that presentation is focusing on that grant proposal. So again, I have more details on Canvas, and I'm going to be sharing lots of more details about all the different elements of the class as we proceed with the class. And I will be sharing regular updates through announcements and videos really every week with the class. But of course, if you have any questions, any difficulties as you proceed, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So I hope that you're going to find this class to be useful and helpful. I even had a couple of students who have taken this class and then went on to actually get jobs doing something with grant writing. So that's actually been very exciting for me, or with nonprofits, which involved doing things with grant writing. So this is hopefully a very helpful and useful class for you, whether you go into grant writing or not. But hopefully this will give you some new skills and some new knowledge of grant writing. All right, I look forward to working with all of you. As I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me.